Hey guys, and welcome back to the only series that combines the lore of Magic the Gathering with the physical cards you can win. I'm Simon, and this is SNS. I know, the schedule's all out of whack. A Saturday night story on a Wednesday? Have I actually lost my mind? Well, kinda sorta. The holidays took up a lot of time, and Wizards didn't release a new article this week, so I was waiting for the latest one to fill in the gap. Then I got sick, of course, and it got delayed even further. Yet, these are just mundane excuses. It's time to pick up where we left off in the story of Aether Revolt. On Kaladesh, the consulate, under order of the planeswalker Tezzeret, has seized the winning inventions and inventors from the Inventors Fair. This grand scheme was orchestrated as the Gatewatch were distracted by a very flashy duel between Tezzeret and Chandra's mother, Planar, who's also the leader of the rebellious renegades. Drawn to this display like moths to a flame, the heroes of the Gatewatch never saw Tezzeret's true machinations taking place, as he moves his final pieces on the board and readies for a breakthrough. Out of all the gadgets and oddballs Tezzeret plucked from the fair, the greatest and most promising was an elf named Rashmi. Rashmi had toiled for years working on her matter transporter, a device that can teleport solid material through space. With hard work, determination, and help from her Vidalcan assistant Middle, Rashmi managed to build a functioning prototype, which won her the grand prize at the fair. Probably the greatest honor in her life, Rashmi prepared for an endless supply of ether and other resources in order to bring her ideas to reality, although she has yet to learn the truth of her victory. Rather than building the future she envisioned, she was crafting the future of another. With every turn of her wrench, every spark of her welder, the archway creeped closer and closer to completion. This was Rashmi's pride and joy. Watching it being built up from nothing almost brought a tear to her eye. A tear Middle would have certainly calculated and measured. That was the only thing she regretted in winning this opportunity, that her trusted assistant couldn't join her in this achievement. In fact, this laboratory, this workshop, seemed deprived of a lot of joyfulness for those looking to finish their greatest accomplishments. Looking around to the other winners, no one seemed happy or excited, more nervous and scared than anything else. It was to be expected though, they were all under a lot of pressure from head judge Tezzeret. He had put a lot of resources into their projects as their patron. Of course, he expected results. If results weren't produced in a timely fashion, then he terminated your contract. Just the other day, Rashmi witnessed a dwarf booted out of the lab for failing to produce greater enhancements to his Gearhawk. Tezzeret not only defunded the project, but kept the dwarf's Gearhawk as well, leaving him with nothing but a tarnished reputation. It was a fate all the inventors feared. All the inventors knew what was on the line, but only Rashmi seemed to understand the full extent of Tezzeret's controlling nature. He had forbid the winners from talking to one another, rationalizing it as a hindrance to productivity. But in truth, it was just another simple pleasure taken from them. This is what their genius had brought them, being used as tools in order to achieve someone else's preferred outcome, an outcome that was still totally undefined. For her sake, all Rashmi could do was ensure that her giant teleporter worked on schedule or face the consequences. Without Middle, the work seemed to be without meaning, not to mention slower than originally predicted, even with the unrestricted access to ether. Eventually, Rashmi had a breakthrough. The orbital coordinates, which controlled the destination of any object placed in the teleporter, needed readjusting. But when she placed her hand into the ether-soaked machine, she felt a pull. In a blink, she was plunged to a world between worlds, a mirror floating above a reflective lake, looking into a million shards, all different and strange from Kaladesh. She saw plants, animals, buildings like she's never seen before, things that not even her wild imagination could conjure. She could have stayed in this place forever, the beauty was unmatched, but the machine pulled her back and she was again nothing more than Rashmi the elf on Kaladesh. As she lay weeping on the floor, the Grand Consul, Tezzeret, decided it was time for a quick progress report. He'd hoped there'd actually be progress this time. In terms Rashmi could only partially understand, she began describing this grand breakthrough. The worlds beyond worlds, the dimensions that exist outside of Kaladesh. All Tezzeret could do was laugh. Rashmi didn't understand why, but he seemed so unconcerned by the prospect of other worlds, as if it didn't affect his understanding of things as it did her. All he cared about was it being finished, and indeed it was. But It wasn't a transporter anymore. It was a gateway into expanding their understanding of everything. Still, Tezzeret only saw it as a tool. Today was the day. Tezzeret was done waiting for his grand project. They would test the device here and now. Just as his guards were about to pull Rashmi from her invention, the elf made a bold move. She lied. She screamed that it wasn't finished, contradicting her previous statement. Tezzeret didn't take kindly to this change of heart. Either it was a move meant to stall, or she just lied. Both would be punishable with her death. Rashmi quickly explained that while the machine was ready, she blew a fuse in the last test and needed to exchange it. Small enough to convince Tezzeret, yet not large enough to buy her the time she needed. She was allowed to fix the fuse in exchange for her life, but Rashmi didn't care about her own life. She couldn't let this great device fall into the hands of this man who could do God knows what with it. Unfortunately, Tezzeret was far more clever than Rashmi realized. He saw the machinations building in her mind. She planned on destroying the machine. To ensure her cooperation, Tezzeret sent guards to hold her friend, Middle, until her job was completed, threatening the life of her dearest friend. As she was left to fix the broken fuse, Rashmi had to quickly figure out a way to save her and Middle, and her device was the key. She wrote a note to Middle warning him about the danger coming, crumpling it into a ball, and setting the device to teleport it to their old lab. She could only hope that it would find Middle before the guards did. This activity, however, alerted Tezzeret. He could smell deceit from a mile away. Rashmi again lied, saying she was running calculations, a lie the head judge could no longer stand for. Anger and rage filled Tezzeret as he struck Rashmi and again threatened her life. She only hoped that the note would find its target. In a flurry of strikes, Rashmi was forced to finish the device, which she did. Then she set the destination of the teleporter, again by force. But this time, she was able to decide its location. Tezzeret was done waiting. He was ready to use the machine for himself, and Rashmi gave him the green light. His guards moved a Gearhawk into position and he fired up the device. Lights flashed and steam expelled from its casing. More flashes and the giant automaton disappeared and reappeared just a few steps away from them above a huge window at the far end of the lab. The glass shattered under the pressure as the Gearhawk broke through the wall, leaving it open to the clear blue sky beyond. This was Rashmi's escape route. She tied herself to some elastic cord and threw herself from the open wall. She fell, but safely reached the surface, as a visibly angry Tezzeret was ordering all available men to chase after her. Rashmi ran, but luckily found a friendly face, her dear friend, Saheeli. Together, with a woman dressed in all black, they left the chaotic scene. As they arrived at the secret hideout of the renegades, it began to dawn on Rashmi that Saheeli must have already known about her device. She was against it from the very beginning. Does this mean she understood its capabilities and these other worlds even before the device was finished? Who was her friend, really? None of those questions seemed to matter right now, however. For now, they were safe, and Rashmi was now a member of the renegades. And that, guys, is the latest lore from Aether Revolt. Obviously, Tezzeret has some big plans for this teleporter, but was already aware of its capabilities since he's a planeswalker. Now his device is functional and ready for use, although we still don't know what that means for Kaladesh. It also looks like Rashmi will soon learn of the existence of planeswalkers and of different planes themselves. It'll be cool to see how she deals with this revelation. Anyway guys, it's new lore, so that means it's time for a new giveaway. As the story so heavily focuses on Rashmi and her invention, it's only fitting to give away her card, Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter. To enter for your chance to win this card, all you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel and leave a comment on this video. The winner will be chosen at random and announced at the end of the next new lore video. Of course, this also means I need to unveil the winner of last week's episode, who won a copy of Saheeli Ray. And that winner is Sans Bros. Congratulations! Go ahead and reply to my YouTube message or contact me via Twitter to claim your prize. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I just want to thank everyone for their support on the series thus far. You guys really make doing this worthwhile. If you want to continue supporting the channel, consider sharing this video with friends, following me on social media, and becoming a patron on Patreon. Find links to all those in the description below. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time!